This webinar is on using the inquiries and Enquiry Web Forms to attract more and better quality leads. So for those of you who don't know me yet, I'm Kirsty Morris and I'm a Premier Customer Success Manager here. So I look after customers that have got a Premier CSP with us at ProspectSoft, working towards goals for businesses and having regular reviews with my customers. So on today's agenda, we're looking at creating Enquiry Web Forms, how to deploy them onto your website, generating more leads using inquiry forms because you can use them in multiple ways, using the new Kanban Enquiries Dashboard to manage new leads to ensure that they're followed up on time, assigning inquiries to your team, and converting inquiries into the CRM. So that's whether it's a contact, whether it's opportunity, or whether it's a problem, etc. So a few key takeaways that we'd like you we would like to achieve on this webinar is to show you how to generate inquiry forms and understanding how to create them, deploy them, and embed them to capture visitor details. Keeping track of all of your inquiries to ensure that you're learning how to track them, how to manage them, and elevating your sales process because these are all leads that have come from a form where somebody has taken the time to fill them out. So it's good to get on top of them while they're still hot. And then converting those leads into opportunities. We'll also look at converting leads into problems and contacts, just in case that's the route that you want to go down, but mainly around opportunities and ensuring that all of your leads are converted and follow a strong sales process once they have been converted through. So I'll take you through a demo now. And the demo is on our test system, which is all about jam. So if you see any references to jam, that's why. So jam making products, etc. And the first part of inquiries is in the settings. So before we even get to the setup of an inquiry form, we'll go over to system settings where you'll need to set up your reCAPTCHA details. So for those of you who don't know, reCAPTCHA is there to prevent people from spamming your inquiry form, basically a little bit of security so that you don't get bombarded with bots sort of going through your process and that fills up your inquiry list. Information on how to obtain your keys are on this link here. So I'll just go back on this link here where it's in blue, where it says to learn how to obtain your keys and find out more information, please click here. This takes you through to our documentation portal, which has all of the information on where to go. So you actually have to go to Google and set up a reCAPTCHA profile, and then you get some security keys. So this roughly takes you through all of the information on how to obtain those keys. And once you get to this section here, you copy the site key and you go back into the CRM and copy and we'll paste that into the site key section. And then you get your secret key, which you then paste into the secret key section and then click save. So once you've done that, you're ready and set up to start creating forms. So if you go over to the marketing on the left-hand side of the CRM and you first go to forms, you'll then see a list of all forms that we've created as part of test profiles. But this will be where all of your forms are saved. So if you go to the small add button here, it takes you to create a new inquiry form. So for this scenario, I'll just do a test contact us form. And if you would like all of your forms, once somebody submits a form on your website, if you would like these inquiries to all be assigned to a specific member of staff, then you would click assign to. So for instance, if you want all sales or contact us forms to go to your sales manager, you would select your sales manager in here. So for this instance, I'll select Alex. And then you can select always notify user. So as soon as that customer selects the submit button, it will then notify Alex that there is a new inquiry that's come through. So that's just keeping everyone informed that there are inquiries coming through and that they can be actioned in a good time. If you relate a campaign or an inquiry form to a campaign activity, You can then select that in a drop down once you've created a campaign activity, and there'll be more information in our docs portal on campaigns. For example, if you attach an inquiry form to the bottom of an email, a sort of marketing campaign, and you've created an email marketing campaign, you would select that in this drop down here. For this instance, I'll leave that blank. But the source type is where you would want to say, where is this form embedded? So for this instance, we're going to embed a form on our website. You can create more drop downs in the configure section where you can select whereabouts on your website is. So if you are going to deploy multiple forms on your website, so one for requesting a brochure, for example, or one for a contact us, or one for raising a complaint, you can then select whereabouts on the website it is as your source type in here. So that will then pull through into the inquiry. It will tell you where it is come from, and then you can keep a track of where all of your inquiries are coming from through your website, because some pages may perform better than others. So if you just click create, it brings up this drop down. So you basically have the full list of where it is. So this is where we've just filled out all of these details. And then your form URL, if we come over to the actual form, the form URL is where you want this form to be sat. So if you are going to put it onto your contact us page, you would then put the URL for the contact us page, which will go in here. The redirect URL is the landing page in which when somebody selects submit, it will then redirect them to a page that says, thank you very much for filling this out. We will then be in contact shortly. That's the redirect URL. So you would need to put these in, so then you've got the information of where they're going, and then you can start to edit a form. So this is the form creator. Once you click edit form, it comes up with some very basic information on here. This is a standard template, and there are some ways that you can tweak this. So first of all, you can change the title of the form. So whatever it says at the top, it could be contact us, or it could be get in contact, for example, and you can change that label around. You've then got the class, which is if you want to do your own styling in CSS, you've got these two drop downs here. So the type is H2. You can have different, you can change this to be headers different, so that will pull through different types of text context at the top. So if we just go for H2 and then close that, as you can see, this has got a red asterisk next to it. So this means that this field is required. So the first name, you can change the label. You can tell them that a little help guide, and this will literally put a question mark next to the box to tell you what they need to put in. The first name is pretty self-explanatory, so you may not want to change that, but you could just put name. And then the placeholder is what will fill in the box. So for example, you would have first name where label is, and then first name, for example, where first name is written there. That would literally just fill or pre-populate the thing just to prompt. So you can take the label out and just leave it so that the placeholder is in there, or you can just leave the label as and have no placeholder. And I can go through and show you the different types. The class and the value are the types of CSS fields that you would need. So if you were going to do your own branding, you would need to change these within here. And then if you are doing your own branding, please select remove automatic styles from this form. That means it will then remove our standard template styles, and then you can apply your own in there as well. So other fields that you can add in are text fields. You can change the type of field that's in there, max length. So if you've got a limitation on your fields that you want to put in, you can put that into here. And then the field mapping. So field mapping is where is it going to be mapped within the CRM. So these are all of the standard fields, and we can map to custom fields if there's specific information you'd like to get from your form. But for this instance, I'll show this and explain later how we can custom map fields. So that one's going to be mapped to everywhere in the CRM. First name will be mapped to what is coming through on this first name label. The span is basically how many columns you would like this field to span for. So this example, I'm going to do two. The whole form will have a standard of 2 columns. But for first name, I want it to only span one of those columns, and therefore it will be a shorter box. And last name, I'll change again. So you just go to the pencil and you can change it to span one. But then for email, it will be slightly longer. So instead of cutting off and sort of going backwards and forwards with the cursor, you can change that span to 2. Any point during this process, you can click preview at the bottom. And then this clearly shows how I've added in my placeholder first name there. And then I've also made the email span 2 columns. So you can play around with that and you can add in different fields here. So one of the fields that I added in earlier on the custom mapping was details of products that you're requesting. So you can add in here details of if you've got specific products that that customer might like to add. And this actually maps through to a custom field of the summary box of an opportunity. So if it was filled out, then when you convert it to an opportunity, it will then populate that summary box with the details of the products that were requested on this form. So once you've built your form, obviously you can add loads of different types of fields in here. You can add numbers, you can add mobile numbers, you can add addresses, etc. As much information as you'd like on your form, or as little information as you like. One of my customers has actually set up this a form with just email to request to be added to a newsletter. So in that scenario, you would convert it into a contact, and then they get their emails subscribed, and then they will receive the newsletter on a regular basis. So once you've done that, that's the form created, you click save. And you'll be generated with a box here that has got the HTML. The HTML would then be copied and embedded on your website, or it could be embedded in an email, it can be embedded on a social media post. However you'd like to use these forms, you can embed them anywhere, as long as you've got this HTML. So if you copy that, and then you would go into your website and you would paste. I don't have a live system to demonstrate this on and how to paste that in, etc. But if you do struggle with it, please do get in contact. So this example here is just a form that's been filled out, and you would go in, or it's been embedded, sorry, onto the website on a contact us page. You'd fill this out and then you'd click send. Once that's been sent, you will get either in the test form, you can see a list of all of your inquiries that have come from that test form here, or you can go to Inquiries tab at the side. So this is where you will start to see a build up of every single inquiry that's coming through your website. If you've got one form on the website, then you'll just get a list of all of those. If you've got 2 different types, you will have different types of forms that come through that. And one area that I would suggest doing, and I have requested that this can be added to this report as standard, but that's a potential future development. You can select a field, and on the form, you would just add the name. So if you've got multiple different forms on your website, you can then see where that's come from by the name of the form. So then you can filter that out and say, I'm only looking after all of the newsletter requests. So you would then go in and you can filter this down to say, I'm only looking at newsletter requests. And then, or if you're a sales manager, you can go in and say, I'm only looking for ones that have got an inquiry on our inquiry for products form, for example. So once you've got started to get inquiries to come through, you can obviously see this one here because this form was auto assigned to Alex Calderbank. All of his details are here, and this has been assigned. So Alex would have received an email notification to say this inquiry has been filled out. Please go into the CRM, and then it will link back to this inquiry. If you click on inquiry number, it will take you into the inquiry process. So it comes in as new. Once it's been assigned, which in this case is automatically assigned to Alex, you can say that it is assigned, and it will go to that. And then if I clicked convert, it moves it to in progress. So from this process here, you can either convert this inquiry into a contact. So if a customer has filled out your newsletter request, they don't necessarily have anything that they want from you specifically, but they are a new contact and they want to register for your newsletter, you can convert them here to a contact. So you just go to create new contact and it will pull through all of the information that you've got in here. If they are a new company as well, you would need to select the parent. So they could be an existing company, or if they're a new company, you can then create the new company from there. And again, it pulls through all of that information from here. So then you would just need to fill out the fields that are mandatory based on your CRM. Obviously, if they've selected a newsletter, you can say that they've subscribed, and then you can click convert. The other area is that you can convert these into new opportunities. And this is where this is a great way to be able to close that loop from seeing how many inquiries have come from your website that you've then actually converted into orders. So again, you would go to create new opportunity, and then you could type in test or inquiry about jam. So test jam inquiry. And then again, from here, seamlessly, you can create a new company and a new contact, or either or a B2C. So if this customer is not a business and they literally are just a B2C contact and they've just inquired about your products, you can then create a B2C contact. So for this instance, I'll create the contact is Alex, and then I'll create the company as I did before, the company type, customer, mandatory field, main decision maker, and they've subscribed. So if they filled out their number, their telephone number and stuff, it will just pull through into here. Can't actually get. Sorry, I'm just having my Zoom section at the bottom is hiding. So I'll just click convert here. Sorry about that. Sorry, just having some technical difficulties. Perfect. So when you go to, you've created now the parent, which is Alex. You can then select the sales pipeline. So you should have some sales pipelines set up as to whether they're new business. You could have pipelines set up for if they're an existing customer, for example. But for this scenario, we'll do a new machine sale. So they've inquired about a new machine, and this is the pipeline that you want that inquiry to follow. So you can change it probably straight to qualified, because if you've had contact with them or you've reached out to them, or you can leave it as unqualified and then still follow through that process. So once you've selected all of the relevant details, you can then click create. And then that pulls all of that through into the CRM. So you can see that this is now converted. So if you went into Alex, we've then got the opportunity for Alex in here. So this has got all of the information that's been pulled through from the CRM, from the inquiry form into the CRM. So you can see where the source of that opportunity has come from as well. Let's just set a follow up. So if you want to follow this up, you can then just say, call in a week to chase or to touch base with the customer. And then you can select your task to follow up next week and then click save. So this will then give you the task, and then you'll just follow the standard sales pipeline that you would normally follow for all of your opportunities, but you can see that this has come from an inquiry. So if we just come out of here for a second, what I will do is go back to the list. So You can see the inquiry search in this format, which is your standard inquiry list. You can then also see it in a Kanban mode. So the Kanban mode really is to give a visual mode for your team to be able to, or maybe on your stand-up meeting in the morning, you will then see all of these inquiries have come in last night, and then you can quickly assign them in your stand-up meeting in the morning. So I can move this one over here, and then it pops up with a select assigned user, and then I can assign that to Amber and then click assign. So then that's been assigned, and then it's Amber's opportunity. She will be notified that there is an inquiry in her name and she needs to go and action it, and then she can move it through the process of converting that lead. So just to, you can get to the inquiry Kanban mode through the inquiries list here, or if you go to the dashboard, you've got your drop down of all of your dashboards here, and then you can click the inquiries pipeline, and that will take you to the same pipeline there. So one area as well that I did briefly touch on is mapping fields. And what you can do is map fields into the inquiries into sort of custom fields into your CRM. So if you go into system settings and then type in mapping, it comes up with custom inquiry field mappings. So I say click to configure. Say I wanted specific items or details on what that customer is looking for. So on the form at the bottom, I want a field that will populate into my summary of my opportunity that gives me an overview of exactly what that person is looking for. So you go to add, and then click show more. And then you can create a custom field. I've already created this one, but you would just click add custom field. It's a text field, and then details of a product requested. You would select that field because that's the field that I would like to be shown on my inquiry. Then click next. And then you would like to say, where is it going to go in your opportunity? So you want it to populate within the description of that opportunity. And then you would click save. So if I then go back to the form that I just created, and then clicked edit the form, details of products requested, and I can add that in as a summary box. So when I look at my form, I've then got details of products requested where your customer can go in and fill that out. And if you definitely want them to have that, you can then add, this is required. I need to know what you were contacting me about. So you can convert these obviously into opportunities. You can also use these forms for converting problems. So say if you had a contact us form for your opportunities, or an inquiry form for your opportunities to raise for sales, for example, you may also want to redirect people for help. So somebody may have a help page that says, I've got your product, but I need some help with it, or I've got your product and I've had a delivery issue, for example. You can then generate a form for that. And then when you're looking at your inquiries, you can, when you've got the list of the names down the side, you can then go, okay, this one's actually needs to be converted into a problem because the customer is having an issue with a product that they've already bought. So you would go to convert, and then you can create a new problem. The benefit of this one is that you can actually create, link that problem to the original opportunity or the original sale of the item. So if the customer has had a delivery issue, you can then go back and say, okay, well, I know they ordered it on this order number or this inquiry, and then you can create you can search for the old inquiry so that you know that you're logging that whole process from start to end to say that actually we sold all of this product and this was the opportunity value, but then a problem arose with delivery, and then you can see the impact that that's had. So the forms can be very versatile, and you can create problems from them as well, which could be set up in a slightly different way. Other area that I did mention was the notification emails. So if you go to your obviously go to your account details at the top and then click personal settings and then selected notifications. You'll then see that this inquiry assignments here is blue because you want everyone to get an instant notification when an inquiry is assigned for you. You can also select daily, weekly, and monthly, just in case you have a backlog or you would like people to make sure they're on top of them and haven't missed those instant emails. You can then get the reminders of the inquiries that have been assigned. So that's sort of closing the loop and ensuring that your sales team are following this process. The idea behind having an inquiry pipeline is so that everybody knows exactly what status all of the inquiries are in, so anybody from the business can look at them. You can then report on any, based on the source of that inquiry, you can then run a report and see how many closed won sales you've had in the last quarter that came from your website to see how that's doing in terms of sales. Obviously, if you've embedded a form on a campaign, you can then see the return on investment of that campaign. So they are very versatile. It's just making sure that you're following the pipelines that you've got set up for problems, for the inquiries and for opportunities, and making sure that process is set up seamlessly. But we do have other webinars that have been specifically aimed at the sales pipeline process. We do have a problem tracking one coming soon. And we're sort of looking at any other ideas if people have got other suggestions for webinars as well. But the idea is that we have lots of knowledge bases, and in our documentation portal, I'll just take you through. So for those of you who don't know, if the question mark at the top here, I'll just run through it quickly. We've got our what's new section. So this is the new releases that come out every 3 weeks. So any updates that we've made that our development team have been working tirelessly to improve your system. We do develop every 3 weeks, and we do take quite a lot of suggestions from this product suggestions portal. So if you have an idea on how to enhance this process, please let us know through the products suggestions. But the documentation, if you click search the help, it then comes up with the documentation portal, and then you can type in inquiry forms. It will tell you a little bit about the inquiry forms and how to embed them, creating an inquiry, setting up your recapture that we've covered. And obviously there was the release notes of when we released this in the version 1.1.1. So I'll just go back to our presentation. Oh, not from the beginning, Kirsty. Perfect. So the key takeaways were how to generate an inquiry form, and hopefully a little bit more understanding on how to deploy and embed them. Obviously, if you do have marketing teams or website teams that are building your website, they would usually be able to know how to implement the HTML code in replacement of forms that you've probably already got set up that are currently going to your sales inboxes. Being able to keep on track of them, so that's setting up the notifications, making sure that all of your team are assigned them efficiently, so easily using the Kanban mode and running through that in your sales morning meetings, for example, or at the beginning of the week. You can then run through who's getting assigned those and who's then responsible, and then converting the leads, either that be into opportunities, problems, or into contacts. So there is a process there, and all of the information that is filled out on the inquiry forms can be mapped into areas within the CRM so that you don't have to do any manual following up or manual copying and pasting. That's the idea behind this process. So now I'll go over to a Q&A. And it looks like we've got a few questions, so I'll start with those. So campaign type, I'll answer this one first. What about campaign type and what is it usually used for? So campaign type is used for our marketing process. So we have the ability to build campaigns and create lists of marketing contacts that you want to reach out, whether that's an e-shop, whether that's an Instagram post that you're putting money behind. The idea there is that if you have created a specific marketing campaign and you've then embedded a form, you can then say that that form has been embedded on that campaign activity or campaign type. So that's usually used for marketing in there. So currently, so the question is, can you set it up that so that if somebody completes a form, it can then automatically add it to a campaign activity? Jess, you might be able, Jess is my colleague in marketing is on the call. She might be able to answer that, but I don't think that's current functionality, but we can look at either adding that to the suggestions portal.
Yes, you're right, Kirsty. Unfortunately, it isn't in there at the moment, Gwen, but that is a great shout. And I think definitely want to add to the ideas portal. I'm sure there's quite a lot of people on the call that would find that useful as
If
well.
you, no, I think, Jess, correct me if I'm wrong, if we add it to, if when you're creating the field, you select the campaign activity, it should populate that as the campaign activity
Yes, if you
on
convert
all
it,
of those
yeah.
inquiries. So yes,
Yeah.
that does work.
But
Um,
it wouldn't automatically add them. So as soon as somebody completes a form, it wouldn't automatically just add them
oh
straight to the
no,
campaign activity.
you'd have to
But
convert them as relating to that campaign activity and then add them manually into that campaign. Yeah, so that functionality isn't quite there. The saying it's come from that campaign is there, so you would select it to say that
yeah,
it's come from that campaign, but it doesn't work in the other way where somebody's registering for an event and then you want to keep them up to date with that. But you could run a report to say any contacts that have been created from this campaign activity, then you can then run that report and add all of those contacts into that campaign activity manually. Sorry, a bit too quick on creating custom fields. So if you can show me again. Yeah, of course. So I can run through custom fields section. So this system, please be aware that this system hasn't got any custom fields set up at the moment. So your systems may be slightly different. But if you go to the settings and then system settings and then the search, and then if you type in mappings, and then click to configure on the custom inquiry field mapping section. So basically you're picking where on this one, you're picking where you want that custom field to map. So if you've already got a custom field set up under opportunities, which is details of requested products, you would click, if I just delete that one. So you go to, you want the inquiry field to map to an opportunity field where your custom field is sat. So you would say the field that's on the inquiry form, you can create a new one. So that would be custom fields. So these are all of our standard fields that are in the CRM on the inquiry forms already. So you can actually select all of these in the inquiry form builder. If you wanted a new one, you would go to add custom fields. And it could be that you want to add a telephone number, for example, or a different type of number. It could be an ID number, for example, for a product. You could select number. Then you could type the name in here. So ID of product. This could be like a batch number or something that you could do. Click close. And then select that field that you've just created. So ID of product, then click next. And then it could be that within this, you then say, I want that to be mapped to a custom field within the CRM. So on your opportunity, you will have custom fields, for example. So this, as I mentioned, this doesn't have many because it's our test system, but you can add a custom field in there, say that it's a number, and this is ID of product that they already have. So you can click close, select that one, and then click save. So this means that every time somebody puts ID of product, it maps to the opportunity field ID of product. So if you've got, for example, one of my customers has got needs loads of different sort of dimensions of a product. If they're going to order it to be bespoke, they would need, they'd fill out an inquiry form and it would say, we need to know the weight of this item, the height of this item, etc. You can create those as custom fields and add that to map into different fields within the CRM or on the opportunity level. So then once you've created all of the bespoke mappings or the custom mappings to custom fields, you then go to forms. Again, I'm going to have to do a hard refresh because your system needs to update that custom field has been created. And then if I go to test contact us page and then click edit form, the one that I've just created, ID of product, has come up at the bottom, and that's a number field. Yeah. So you can, or quantity of product, for example, you can add that in as a number field and then click save. Again, that would then, when you fill the form out, it would map into the field. Once you've converted it to an opportunity, it will pull that field into the one on the opportunity. Let's go to the next questions. So the next question I've got is, if you discard an inquiry, is it still stored somewhere? Jess, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes.
I think, yes, it is. It stays there as a discarded form, doesn't it?
Yes, if you go to all inquiries on the screen, Kirsty, that's great. And then on the filters on the top right, so the 3 further options dots, filter, and then is active, and you can also add in there discarded and converted, I believe. Sorry, just get rid of the and for me, Kirsty. Yeah, but you can just add them to the right of the active.
Yeah. So you can say is
Yeah.
active, converted, or deleted.
Yeah, deleted, by the way, is the discarded ones. I queried that myself just then.
Yeah.
So yeah, that should cover it. So that's quite nice if you want to see this month how many inquiries did we generate. I want to see all of them, whether they've been discarded or converted or just sitting there doing nothing. So yeah, hopefully that answers that one.
Perfect. And the next one is, can you use inquiry forms to record if you're taking a telephone inquiry? Yeah, you can. So you go into the inquiry section and then you just click add. So this just brings up what an inquiry looks like, and then you can add it to the list. So if somebody gives you a call, you can literally just go into here, add a new inquiry, give a little bit of summary about what they want, and then you can click create. And then if you know that that's from your customer services team, but you know it's a sales inquiry, add it in here, and then the sales manager will be able to potentially just divvy it out, or you can automatically assign it to somebody else to deal with in a different team, for example.
Yes, I guess the inquiry web forms automatically feed the
Yeah.
inquiries into your CRM as well, but you also have the option of manually creating them straight from the CRM, like Kirsty just showed. So you've got both options there.
Can you embed a demo video for customers to view? So you can't embed it into the form, but for example, if you've got a web page that has a form on it, you could put a video at the top, or if you're sending out an email with a demo video on it, and then you've got the inquiry form at the bottom, you can do it that way. In terms of embedding a demo video, is this what scenario would that be, Julie? I'm happy to take this offline and discuss in a little bit more detail, but you wouldn't necessarily want to. We don't have the functionality to embed a demo video on the inquiry form, but you could technically do it on the same page on your website. So if you're or on an email, you're sending out the form, but you want to have a demo video on there, you can do that too. Yes, for everyone wondering, this is recorded and it will be available on our YouTube channel as well, where all of our webinars are. So you can see that on there. Gwen, it may be worth I can get in contact with you after the call just to run through and go through that. if you're struggling with the sort of custom fields or got some questions, I'm happy to have a call and run through that separately. Can tags transfer over into a customer level? So the tags would be set internally. So you wouldn't use the inquiry form to set a tag. You would then use the tags in the CRM to assign them to relate to what that customer level is. It does say anonymous attendee. So if you would like to reach out to our help team or even on intercom within the CRM, we can potentially look at what you mean in a little bit more detail around can tags transfer over into a customer level. Project summary, I'm assuming the description is too short, means that the little box is too short or the description field is too short. You could create a summary box or you could map the summary into the summary field to get more characters there. Can you generate a quote from an inquiry form if a SKU is one of the fields on the web form? At the moment, no. The idea would be that you would convert it into an opportunity and then generate the quote from that inquiry under the opportunity. That means that you can then actually report on whereabouts in the sales process. Yeah, you can report about whereabouts in the sales process that is. So if you created an inquiry, the inquiry went into an opportunity, you would then, under that opportunity, create the quote and then send that out to the customer or send out the order, for example, directly from the CRM. But then you're able to track in a lot more granular detail whereabouts in that sales process it is and if it did convert over to an actual sale. Daniel, what I'll do is I'll speak to the team after to see if there's a field that we can look at mapping, adding in some more sort of characters in there to get a little bit more detail, especially if you need a bigger project overview of the summary box. I'm happy to do that. So I'll reach out after the call. So thank you all for joining. I hope it has been helpful. And obviously, if there is anything that you would like some more help on, please reach out to our support team. We do have lots of videos on our webinars and on our YouTube channel, and we've got lots of documentation help as well. If I am your customer success manager or you have a customer success manager, please reach out to them too, and we're more than happy to help and show you these new features. Thanks for joining.
Great, thanks everyone. Take care.